Is it possible to build luxury that doesn't cost the earth? Literally. In this episode, we walk through a home that does exactly that. It's designed in harmony with the jungle. We dive into the architecture of calm, cross-ventilation, thermal mass, native materials, and a wastewater system that's inspired by the mangroves. But more than that, this is a tour of how deep care shows in the tiniest details. Because every choice down to the shape of a window has a reason to be. If you'd like to hear more of my conversation with Armando Uribe, go back and listen to part 1 of the interview. You will learn how to cool a home without AC, how to reuse wastewater with low-tech systems, what's gone wrong in Tulum's rapid development, and what it can teach us about building more sustainably everywhere in the world. See you on the inside of this beautiful Pura home in Tulum. In a world increasingly facing the challenges of climate change, with the Building Green podcast, we will dive deep into the intersection of architecture, design, urbanism, and environmental responsibility. I'm Ladina Schipp, your host. I've been an architect and building site manager for the past 10 years. During my studies at ETH in Switzerland, as well as in my working environment, I've had many touchpoints with sustainability, like many of you, I guess. I've also learned to question what I've been told, which is why I decided to go deeper into the topic and uncover what sustainability actually means. My mission is to highlight the transformative power of sustainable architecture, not just as a practice, but as a catalyst for broader societal change. Subscribe for more of our content and enjoy the show. Armando, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm super excited for you to walk me through one of the houses of Pura Tulum. Mm-hmm. Can you tell me a bit about the concept? We were talking before in another conversation about how important it is to read the location you are and work with what's already there,
yes.
The passive architecture, the wind, sun orientation. Can you tell me a bit how you implemented that here?
Sure, Ladina. As you can see, these homes, one of the most important aspects of the concept is that these two are together. It's kitchen and lounge, and then there's 2 separate rooms, and that in itself is inspired in the actual villages, the true villages of the Mayans, who had actually separate structures like that. It was never a one block thing, no? And even if you go to the architecture of the Yucatan, the colonial architecture, when the actual Spanish came and started to build, really quickly they understood the same principle. So they have a similar condition. They have a space where it's inside, but it has a lot of outside space, like a same amount of, actually double, because on one side there's outside space, on the other side there's outside space. And all the rooms are connected in between them. So it's really, really breathable. And it's actually long in this kind of orientation. All the haciendas, it's amazingly accurate. This is facing north. So the longer aspect of the house, the front, is facing north. And that means that the sun is never going to come in directly. It was not going to receive any radiation. Hence, it's not going to get heated. So that's one big principle, that you are oriented all to the north. And then when we come in, I'll show you that there's smaller windows on the back that allows the wind coming from the ocean in that direction and go through the spaces and come out through these doors, these bigger doors. So the principle is you have to have as the same amount of windows or smaller on the leeward direction on the windward direction and bigger on the leeward direction, so that you can create a dynamical space in terms of wind. So those 2 simple things are already very, very powerful statements in terms of the principles that you can use in this region to keep your space cool and feeling well inside. Ventilation is so important because, again, there's a lot of humidity, and humidity stays in hot and trapped places. So I've seen also many condos that have bathrooms with no ventilation and no natural light. So those are like traps for cockroaches, mold, things like that. So all these spaces, the rooms, the bathrooms, kitchen, every space has natural light and natural ventilation. Once you have those elements in place, it already becomes a way more comfortable space to live.
That's actually so interesting. We were talking before about how important it is to read every situation wherever you are, because in Switzerland, where it's mainly cold, well, not in summer, but we have like this big gap between really cold winters and warm summers. So we try to avoid facades, so put everything close, because it's the most expensive and most exposed area, because you have a lot of insulation and you have all the heat or the cold coming in from there.
Yes. Yeah, that's totally, I understand. But because in that case, in that climate, what you want to keep is to keep a stable temperature inside, right? Either when it's really, really cold and snow, you want to keep the heat inside. In this case, you would like to have windows oriented to the south.
Exactly.
Because in the south, also when you're higher in the latitude, the sun's angle changes more. In this case, we're closer to the equator. You know, in the equator, it's the same; it never changes.
Yeah.
And here we're 20 degrees, so it changes a little bit. In summer, right now, we just passed the longest day of the year. It's 21st of June, actually. So the sun goes like almost like that. But in winter, it will go like that, right? But in your case, it even goes lower because you're higher in latitude. So as you design according to that climate, it makes sense what you're saying. It's you keep the temperature stable. In this case, the principle takes you to understand that the more wind, the more heat is taken out from the body of the spaces. Like if this would be one block, it would be more what you're saying, would keep more stable in temperature inside. So if it's heat, it will be hotter. It will be, and it will be more. It will take more time to bring the temperature down. Whereas in this case, since all this surface area is exposed to the outside, it keeps itself cool because wind actually touches the body of the buildings and keeps the radiation out of the buildings. No?
Makes a lot of sense.
Also underneath, no? Of a difference of temperature. Yeah. We're too technical there.
So the whole house is elevated.
Exactly. Yes.
Just to be ventilated underneath.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons, and the other is because here there's mosquitoes, there's snakes, there can be spiders, and this gives you a sensation of security. You're floating a little bit on the garden is out there, the beast, not wild nature is over there. Then there's a treated garden there, and yes, the elevated deck gives you this feeling of kind of like you're not already on another layer, and a cleaner layer. It's inspired mostly in Asia. No? In Asia, they use this a lot. We don't have decks in indigenous places here. They didn't use wood, but in Asia, in similar climates, they do. In Japan and in Bali and all these places.
Shall we go inside?
Yes.
This is the kitchen. Is this all local materials?
Yes, actually, there's a material that has been used actually previously also to the colonial. It's called chukun. Right now, lately, it's become really, really famous. A lot of people in Tulum are using it because now it has been stabilized in bottles. So now you can use the actual liquid in bottles, and you can use the paste. You can buy the paste in powder. You mix it with water, and then you make your mix and you use it.
And what is it originally?
It's carbonate calcium. It's limestone.
Ah.
Same limestone that the peninsula is made of. And what's amazing about this is that everywhere in the world, if you go to Switzerland, I'm sure that you have it if you have limestone, but Spanish, Portugal, Japan, Finland, almost every country has found used to use lime as a finish for buildings. Greece also, you see these white buildings, they're all finished with lime, which is different from vinyl paint. Vinyl paint is actually a layer and it's unhealthy, whereas this is alkaline, insects don't like it, it doesn't keep the mold. So it's also going back to the healthy materials for our bodies and our minds is of great significance. And here we happen to have a lot of limestone because mostly everything is limestone. So the actual ancient techniques of construction or of finishes mostly are made with, in this case it's plaster, and in this case it's called lime wash, which is a paint, but it's the same material. Yes.
Are the floors also made out of that?
No, in this case it's just white cement. The different floors are white cement. Yeah. And we use this lime wash on the walls because this is also very easy to repair. If you actually hang something and then you want to repair it, you can just repair it and then paint again. Whereas with the chukun, you have to take the whole wall down and up again. Yeah. The one who did it in traditional way is Alejandro from Huacash. Since he's from this region, he knows the ancient techniques of how to cook all these things right. So he does turn stones into lime, and then he mixes the tea of the chukum, and he makes his own chukums.
That's why I was familiar with the Tukum name. They
Yes.
told us there that all the floors and walls and ceilings, it's a bit shiny though.
Yeah, that's shiny. You can actually leave it shiny, or you can actually you can make it look like a sand more. Like, and that's what we did here.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we didn't want it because the shiny, it breaks. And we thought maybe people, they would get scared. They would think that it's not a good quality. Mm-hmm. But it breaks. And it doesn't mean that it's going to come down. It actually, the more you leave it in the wall, the more carbon comes back into the molecule, into the chemistry of the wall, and it becomes harder and harder and harder. So you take the wall. The process is like that. You take the rock, you turn it into lime to use it, and then it comes back to being carbonate calcium again in its original form, but applied to the wall.
It's beautiful.
Yes.
We were talking about the small windows and the big windows and the ventilation. Mm-hmm. And what was the thought behind the beautiful light well?
Well, it was two things. One is the shape, which is also all buildings have. They don't have flat shapes. I think also maybe in Switzerland you have sloped.
Especially
roofs.
Here because it rains a lot, right?
Also, yes, rain or snow or. So we wanted to emulate that, but in a cleaner form, in a modern form. But then creating this sky dome, sky window, also you have that. You just moved. You moved, and then the light hit your body, and there's an effect. So even when you're inside, and you're protected from let's say the heat and the mosquitoes outside, you can still remember, you can still feel, and be informed by this music, this symphony of nature that is right outside and happening all the time.
It's true. It doesn't feel enclosed, and there's a lot of light coming from above, and you feel like this play of shadow and sun.
Exactly. And we like to think that we're rational all the time, but we feel space most of all. So a lot of the decisions that you can see in this place makes us feel good. And that lateral light is something that touches our experience in a healthy way most of the time. Sometimes there's buildings where you come in and you forget about the outside. And then you come out and it's almost like a shock. Where here, no, you will always have these influences, that is going to let you know what's going on, where the sun is, where the movements are. This shade.
The little window over there.
Exactly.
So you see in all directions.
Exactly. That's a big principle. Winds in many sides and not only on one side. Mm-hmm. If you only have on one side, it also becomes you feel trapped. But here you feel surrounded by nature. So that's how we designed it.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Let's go out. What I really like also that you can feel that it's really thought as a home away from home. That you have two completely different homes for 2 guests or 4 guests.
Yes. You can feel the freshness. You see, there's no air conditioning. Look at how fresh it is. It's fresher than there.
Yeah.
And outside,
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel humidity, it's dry, Yes. It feels like a little cave.
Yeah. And I love all the rounded corners.
Oh yeah, there's a space here. We need to repair this. Yeah. We that also is important for us because sharp shapes also are not nice to the body, So we took the time to do that. Yeah.
Do you think this business model or this product that you've built here is scalable?
Definitely, because it's based on, I think every place, if you apply the right principles, then you will find a way to make it sustainable also economically. I believe that particularly in Pura, it only was able to, you could only do it because of its special conditions. We bought this 15 years ago. So we didn't pay a lot of money for this land. And now we are able to actually bring the homes at a certain price. We started at a certain price range. Now the homes are way more expensive than the beginning, like the last house that we sold. I don't know if it's good to say the prices, but we sold for $720. The first house we sold for 3 bedrooms for $420. So it's increasing. It's increasing slowly. But I believe that every project, if we understand that the value is exactly on that, on how we cook the homes in tune with the place, and we find the place as we actually develop the design, and we understand the construction methods, and we bring the right proportion, because it all depends on the price of the land, it depends on the cost of the construction, and then also finding the right market and ticket it right, like go out to the right practice and the right price. In this case, I'm talking more about the real estate aspect of it, no? But I'm 100% certain. I mean, the first project that we did here, Art House, I don't know if you know about it, Art House in Aldea Samar, it's a condo space. And in that case, the land was not that cheap as here, so the density is higher. But we had the opportunity to do 60% occupation, and we brought down to 47% occupation. Whereas everyone else was actually doing the opposite. They were actually bribing the government or paying the government to get more density, to destroy more land. But as we created the balance between the nature and the built, then we were able to sell for higher prices. We sold at 3,000 square meters instead of other ones we're selling for 2,000 square meters. That was really daring. With my friend Diego, who was the developer, he was guiding the development. And that was I think a really daring move to be able to make that statement. You know? Because yes, people value this. Yeah, so it's definitely scalable. That's what we're trying to do, to bring it to new possibilities, to new projects. Because even though there's a lot of stock of homes in Tulum, again, there are not many high quality spaces. And anyone, like even if you're talking about $100,000 home, the principles that I just showed you today can be applied. And they're literally principles. Every architect, as they understand them, they can play with them. And then we can create something meaningful, homes for people. So it's really not about the price. We can balance it and make it work, definitely.
And how about maintenance for such a place?
Well, in this case, it's high maintenance, I would say. You know, we have, because we have a lot of nature. So, I mean, I guess as every other place in the jungle in Tulum, once you have this environment where there's mosquitoes, there's bats, you know, pooping all over, there's the hurricanes, the rain, the humidity, the mold, it requires certain skill to maintain these homes in good conditions. But again, like which home doesn't? Like it's like us taking care of our bodies. No, we take care of our bodies and we enjoy that. So it's the same with a home, I would say. I mean, I'm sure in Switzerland, for example, you have to do a lot of things to keep the snow out of the roofs and out of the front of the house, and you relate to your field. Right?
Definitely. I think it's also the importance of high quality construction that we need to talk about.
Yes.
Because the higher quality the construction, that obviously the things like nature you still need high maintenance. But I can't imagine how this place would look like if you would have gone for the cheapest construction.
Sure. Yeah, I agree with you. I think quality is super important, no? But I guess anywhere, like if you're going to work for a cheaper option, or let's say a house that is not going to cost as much as this one, you still can choose for good quality materials. I mean, one of the most beautiful projects that we have created in Tulum was a community space for kids. It's called Ladle, Los Amigos de la Esquina. Through a competition, they downloaded some funds to actually an influencer called Jonathan. He has Mom I'm Fine, and he creates funds to ground it to projects that are socially or environmentally responsible. And so these guys actually were able to gather this $60,000 grants to build their space. And within this budget, we created something that is actually amazing. It's cheap materials, not so expensive materials. We used a lot of local materials, local techniques. We went back to building with earth and with wood and with plaster. But also, I think when you are able to do those kinds of things, people also get involved and help, and it becomes more like a community effort to bring something to construction. So it's as much about the building as about the purpose behind, I would say. So again, if you have places that you're going to build and the purpose is not clear, or you're only caring about making money out of it, then it's not going to be so good for you. But if you create something meaningful, like you're able to bring the right energy, the right people, I think there are many possibilities to scale and to continue doing this. And I think I truly believe that this is the next generation of real estate. And of course, we are in the Latin American continent. You guys come from Switzerland, so the reality is completely different. No? But here, there are ways, no, of doing things the way they ought to be, I would say. No? Well, again, the same thing with the bathrooms. No? You can see the beautiful natural lights.
Yeah.
No? Yes. And here also.
You can shower outside.
Exactly.
Or feel outside.
Exactly.
Oh, that's nice. Beautiful.
Yeah. This is the chukum as well, same as you saw there. In this case, instead of being shiny, it's matte.
I like it. It's a beautiful material.
When we decide the garden, it's also a really amazing opportunity to be playful with it. So you can see there's zones where there's no nature, only a few trees, and there's a white zone that has possibilities for it to be used in different ways. You have a garden of fruit trees that we have experimented with, but then that area, for example, is designed to keep it as a natural reserve, leave the soil alive, like even wild. No, you can see that it's wild, and that wall that you see also is a really nice story, because all the walls in between the homes we built with those rocks that came from the same land. We didn't bring any rock from the outside. We didn't buy the rock, no quarry, no everything. We just brought it from within, and we brought people from Yucatan who are specialists, because they have been doing this for a long time, and they did it by hand. The whole year of the pandemic, they stayed here and they did it by hand. Find the rock, move the rocks, build the walls.
Wow.
Yeah, so in Yucatan you see it a lot, and it's actually something that you can see all over the world, because everyone uses rock in different ways. No?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of decisions that I can tell you, but most of all, it's what you said, you feel it, no?
Yeah.
And look at this beautiful environment. You are a few minutes from town, a few minutes from the beach, yet we have your own atmosphere.
It's beautiful.
Yes.
Tk you so much for showing me around, Armando.
Thank you also, it's been inspiring. And let's continue. Let's see where this takes us.
A huge thank you for listening. Make sure you subscribe to the show wherever you listen to the podcast to support me and so you don't miss an episode. And while you're there, I'd also be so grateful if you could rate and review us. If you have any guest suggestions or any feedback, you can find me on the socials at LatinaShip. Thanks.